Part 3. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 21. It's this feeling that makes the soul tremble. This was the second time Lin Su had this feeling. The first time was when he obtained the Dian divine art at the Xiun town market. At that time, the green seedlings also had this reaction, but it was far less intense than this time. Is there any heaven-defying skill recorded in this jade slip? This jade slip looked extremely ordinary, nothing out of the ordinary, and even the consciousness did not react at all when it was touched. If the blue jade slip had not had a strong reaction to it, Lin Su would never have noticed it. The time for a stick of incense has come. The steward's urging voice, which contained a lot of true energy, came from outside. Lin Su clenched his fists. If you fight, choose it. Lin Su decided to believe in the green seedling in GeniusProtagonist. At least so far, it has not let him down. The jade slips flying in the air were different from those stacked on the ground. Each piece was unique and could not be copied. Lin Su could only take the jade slips out of the treasure house. This is the jade slip of the exercise method I chose. He handed the jade slip to the steward and took a look. A strange color flashed in the steward's eyes, as if he didn't understand why Lin Su chose such an ordinary-looking jade slip. However, it was Lin Su's freedom to choose. Even if Lin Su wasted this good opportunity, it had nothing to do with the person in charge, so the person in charge just looked strange and didn't say anything. Li Hao and the three of them also chose their own rewards. The three of them chose magic weapon rewards. Lin Su also felt that this was normal. Disciples of these aristocratic families naturally had no shortage of good cultivation techniques. Comparatively speaking, of course, good magic weapons attract them even more. After all, Lin Su was able to win the first place in the tower competition this time, and the magic weapon fragment of the wind and thunder flying knife played a vital role. You have finished selecting your rewards. Follow me to the inner hall of the City Lord's mansion, where all the immortal masters are waiting for you. In the inner hall of the City Lord's mansion, the representatives of the 5 immortal sects were sitting and drinking tea. This time, the representatives of the 5 immortal sects were headed by Jianmi, the sword-wielding elder of the Sword God section. The other 4 immortal sects were at most the stewards of the sects who were in the middle stage of foundation building. In fact, Elder Jianmi is not idle. This small matter of recruiting disciples in the Qi refining stage is not enough to strain his great power. He came here entirely because he heard about Zhang Yunfan, a man with a spiritual root value of up to 92 points. The gold-type Tianligan cultivator is in Wangtiangxian city and is rushing to recruit disciples. In addition to the representatives of the 5 major immortal sects, the other 6 monks who were among the top 10 in the tower competition were also waiting in the inner hall. Seeing the steward leading Lin Su and 4 others into the hall, Elder Jianmi coughed lightly. A voice spoke. You are all young people who have performed well in this tower rushing competition. You have met the conditions for entering the 5 major immortal sections. Now choose the immortal sect you want to join according to your ranking. Elder Jianmi paused and glanced at Lin Su meaningfully. Your name is Lin Su, right? Yes, a young man with great potential. Tell me, which of the 5 immortal sects do you want to join? I join the Sword God sect. Lin Su said without hesitation that Zhang Yunfan was already a disciple of Elder Jianmi, so he naturally wanted to keep pace with Zhang Yunfan, not to mention that Lin Su had planned to join the Sword God sect. Huh? There is murderous intent. As soon as Lin Su finished speaking, he suddenly felt a trace of murderous aura coming from the right. When he turned around and looked, it was immediately clear that it was Zhuangfeng from the 5 Elements sect. At this moment, Zhuangfeng looked at Lin Su with murderous intent. If looks could kill, Lin Su would have died at least 100 times. Zhuangfeng never expected that Lin Su would win the first place in the tower competition. He originally planned to wait for the opportunity to kill Lin Su after the competition, but now it seems that this possibility is slim. Lin Su has now become a disciple of the Sword God section with Elder Jianmi here. Zhuangfeng does not dare to take any real action other than casting a murderous look at Lin Su. Lin Su will soon follow. Elder Jianmi returned to the Sword God sect, so Zhuangfeng would have no chance. Lin Su knew this very well, so he paid no attention to Zhuangfeng's murderous eyes. He smiled contemptuously and turned his head away from looking at Zhuangfeng. Perhaps it was because Elder Jianmi personally took action, or for some other reasons. In addition to Lin Su, Li Hao and Han Shui also chose the Sword God sect, while Zhao Liang chose to join the Five Elements sect because the Zhao family had always been affiliated with the Five Elements sect. Qinji sect, Dantian sect, and Lingyuan sect each also had 2 people joining. Lin Su, Li Hao, and Han Shui, I will give you 2 days to deal with your own affairs. We will gather at Yunjian Pavilion early the day after tomorrow and follow me back to the Sword God sect. After Elder Jianmi told Lin Su and the others a few words, he stood up and walked out of the house. When he passed by Lin Su, he paused slightly and left a message from his spiritual consciousness: Yunfan is waiting for you at home. Lin Su was stunned at first, and then realized that the home mentioned by Elder Jianmi should be the small courtyard that Lin Su rented for Zhang Yunfan. Bad boy, good luck to you. You'd better hide in the Sword God sect and never come out, otherwise you will be unable to survive or die in my hands. Elder Jianmi has left, and Zhuangfeng has become less scrupulous. Although he does not dare to take action against Lin Su, verbal threats are unavoidable. In response, Lin Su just smiled coldly and responded without any sign of weakness, really? I'll wait and see. After saying that, he walked out of the city lord's mansion without looking back. You sharp-tongued boy. Just wait and see, I will make you pay the price. Lindsay, good job for not embarrassing me, brother. We 2 brothers can practice together again. After leaving the city lord's mansion, Lin Su rushed home and saw Zhang Yunfan already waiting in the small courtyard, with a banquet set on the stone table in the small courtyard. The 2 had just had a few drinks together when the door to the small courtyard was pushed open and Li Hao walked in with a smile. Senior brother Li and senior brother Zhang are so elegant. Why don't they call me senior brother when they drink? It turns out to be junior brother Li. Since you're here, please sit down. Lin Su did not believe that Li Hao came here just to ask for a drink. If my guess is correct, junior brother Li is here for cooperation, right? Senior brother Lin is really a quick talker. Yes, I am indeed here for cooperation. Li Hao laughed, picked up the glass and drank it all in one gulp. Now that the tower competition is over, it's time to have a serious talk about the cooperation we talked about before. Well. Lin Su scratched his head and stood up. Junior brother Li, wait a moment, I'll be right back. After saying that, they walked out of the courtyard. Li Hao and Zhang Yunfan couldn't help but look at each other. Just as they were wondering, Lin Su opened the courtyard door and walked in, followed by the brothers Lu Gang and Lu Ruolai. After introducing the Lu Gang brothers and sisters to Li Hao, Lin Su smiled sheepishly. Brother Lu and Ruolai are basically in charge of matters concerning the Wangtian alliance, and I rarely interfere, so the specific method of cooperation is, I'm afraid junior brother Li is going to discuss it with them. 2 days passed quickly. The cooperation between Wangtian League and the Li family was finalized under the active operation of Lu Gang brother and sister and Li Hao. All Lin Su needed to do was to practice hard and reach the foundation building stage as soon as possible. He established a firm foothold among the Shenzong and became the solid backing of the Wangtian alliance. With the help of the Li family, the Wangtian alliance will also open alchemy rooms, weapon refining workshops and various grocery stores in Wangtian Immortal City to earn spiritual stones and various cultivation resources, part of which will be transferred to the Sword God section for Lin Su and Li Hao to practice. In the early morning 2 days later, Lin Su was led by Zhang Yunfan to Yunjian Pavilion. Li Hao and Han Shui were already waiting in Yunjian Pavilion. Let's go, follow me back to Sword God sect. Elder Xianxia took out a palm-sized sword-shaped flying boat and threw it into the air. The flying boat suddenly enlarged to a size of 3 feet and floated in mid-air above everyone's heads. Elder Xianxia didn't see any movement, he just stepped forward gently and stood on the flying boat. Brother Lu, Ruolai, the Wangtian alliance will be left to you. After explaining a few words to Lu Gang's brother and sister, Lin Su moved and jumped onto the flying boat along with Zhang Yunfan and others. Under the urging of Elder Xianxia, the flying boat turned into a stream of light and rose into the sky, quickly disappearing into the horizon. Under an eaves not far from Yunjian Pavilion, Li Weiner looked at the sword-shaped flying boat flying through the sky, with a look of loneliness on her face. She had a premonition in her heart that when they said goodbye this time and saw each other again, she and Lin Su is probably from 2 different worlds. Is this what it feels like to soar into the sky? It's so wonderful. Standing on the sword-shaped flying boat, feeling the strong oncoming wind, looking at the splendid mountains and rivers below the clouds and the boundless beauty, Lin Su felt an indescribable feeling of joy in his heart. Born as a man, who doesn't want to wield a sword and see all the mountains and rivers in the sky? But if you want to fly with a sword, you have to wait until your cultivation reaches the foundation building stage. This is the first time Lin Su soars in the sky, and the feeling in his heart is the excitement can be imagined. One day, I will soar above the 9 heavens with my own power, and let all mountains, rivers, and everything be under my feet. Half a day later. The Sword God sect is ahead. Lin Su and others looked up and saw several huge peaks floating in the sky in the distance. The tops of the peaks were like sharp swords thrust into the clouds. From a distance, they looked like a fairyland, full of shocking scenery. Mysterious beauty. The peaks are connected by thick iron chains. There are pavilions, carved beams, and waterside pavilions on the peaks. There are even huge waterfalls and countless rare birds and animals playing in the mountains. The mountain peaks can actually float in mid-air. The Sword God sect is worthy of being one of the 5 great immortal sections. It is indeed like a fairyland, extraordinary. The sword-shaped flying boat landed on the largest mountain platform. A yellow-clothed disciple in the early stage of foundation building came up with several disciples in the chi refining stage. I have seen the sword-wielding elder. Well, these are the new disciples. You take them to register. Yes, elder. The disciple in yellow responded and greeted Lin Su and others. You guys, come with me. By the way, this is my new disciple Zhang Yunfan. He doesn't need to register. I will handle it myself. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 22. The elder who holds the sword has not accepted any disciples for many years. What kind of background does this boy have that allows the elder who holds the sword to make an exception? The disciple in yellow was shocked when he heard this, and couldn't help but take a closer look at Zhang Yunfan. He was at the 10th level of Dzogchen in the Qi training stage, and his cultivation level was pretty good, but the cultivation levels of the other disciples were about the same, and it was hard to tell how powerful he was. However, the elder holding the sword was not something he could interfere with. At that moment, the disciple in yellow suppressed the curiosity in his heart and clasped his fists, bowed and said, "Yes, the elder holding the sword." Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. He immediately turned to Lin Su and others and said, "You guys, come with me." Lin Su glanced at Zhang Yunfan and found that the latter was also winking at him. The meaning was obvious. He would meet again after settling down, so he nodded without saying anything more and followed the disciple in yellow. Along the way, you can see the white jade paved road lined with exotic flowers and plants, and the trees are lush but not cluttered. A huge waterfall pours down from the top of the peak, forming a huge pool on the platform below. There are thousands of rays of light, a long rainbow in the sky, and the reflection of the strange peaks in the pool with sparkling waves, which is a wonderful sight. Halfway up the mountain, the disciple in yellow did not continue to go up the steps, but turned to the left. After turning a few turns, he came to a side hall. On the plaque in front of the hall were clearly written three big characters. Odds Hall. This is the Disciple Management Office. Once you enter, someone will help you register. I'll leave first. The disciple in yellow stretched out his hand and pointed toward the side hall, turned around, drew a sword and walked away without looking back. You're so snobbish, you've left us behind. Li Hao muttered with some dissatisfaction. When had he been so despised since he was a child? It's great to be able to get us here. Okay, let's go in and register. Lin Su didn't think there was anything wrong with him. He was a monk in the foundation building stage, and his role as their guide was probably due to the instructions of Elder Jianmei. It was already rare to be able to do this. In the final analysis, strength determines status. If they were also building a foundation, with the basic level of cultivation, I'm afraid the attitude of the disciple in yellow will be very different. Senior brother, we are new disciples. The elder holding the sword asked us to register. The person in charge of registration was a short, fat monk in a green shirt. He was at the 8th level of Qi training. He was half lying on a bamboo chair. After hearing the words sword-holding elder, he said swish. He sat up immediately with a smile on his face. It turns out that these are the new disciples brought back by the sword-wielding elder. Come on, sit down and drink tea. The short and fat monk's surname is Huang. He is responsible for registering new disciples and assigning tasks to monks during the Qi training period. Although his cultivation level is not high, his ability to observe words and emotions and act according to the wind is very good. He can tell at a glance that both Li Hao and Han Shui are both. It is the cultivation level of the 10th level of Dzogchen in the Qi training period, and Lin Hao is only a little behind. What's more, the new disciples this time were brought back from Wangtian Fairy City by elders Hejian himself, so they were different from the past. Others didn't know this, but Fatty Huang had a good reputation. Soon, the registration of Lin Su and the others was completed, and a jade identity card containing the essence and blood of the three of them was issued to the three of them. 3 junior brothers and sisters, your residence is at Yujian Peak in the southwest. The jade tablet contains the map and the magic formula to open the residence array. You three have worked hard all the way, so you will go to rest first and come back to assign tasks tomorrow morning. How about? Fatty Huang said with a smile on his face. So, here comes senior brother Lao Huang. I'll take my leave soon. Lin Su vaguely felt something was wrong, but couldn't figure out the reason for the moment, so he could only nodded and stood up to say goodbye. As soon as Lin Su and the others left, Fatty Huang immediately called a disciple who was at the 5th level of Qi training and said, "Go, find out the identities of these 3 new disciples for me, hurry up." "Yes, senior brother Huang." But it was said that after Lin Su and the others left the chore hall, they headed towards Yujian Peak according to the map recorded in the identity jade tag. Along the way, they couldn't help but admire the fairyland-like scenery, especially after passing 2 peaks. The view of the rolling clouds and mist below is breathtaking as you cross the chain bridge connecting the 2 mountains. Senior brother Lin, junior sister Han, do you think that Fatty Wang's attitude is a bit strange? He's a bit too nice. Li Hao shook the folding fan in his hand and said, I don't think so. After all, we were brought back by the sword-wielding elder. It's normal for Fatty Huang to behave like this. But there's one thing I can't figure out. We could have assigned the task just now, so why should we go tomorrow? Along the way, Lin Su finally figured out what made him feel wrong. Now that Li Hao mentioned it, he said it in passing. Maybe it's the practice of the Sword God sect, or maybe senior brother Huang really thinks we should have a good rest. Han Shui guessed. Maybe, but I always feel something is wrong. Lin Su shook his head, looked at the rows of houses not far ahead and said, forget it, if you can't figure it out, I won't think about it for now. Junior brother Li and junior sister Han, see you tomorrow. Quickly walking to his own hut, Lin Su shook his identity jade plate on the jade slab at the door. A gap as high as one person opened in the light blue formation mask covering the hut, and Lin Su stepped forward. The shape flashed in. Finally arrived at the Sword God section. Recalling the past events in the Purple Cloud sect, it felt like a lifetime ago. At that time, Lin Su never dreamed that he would be able to enter the 5 major immortal gates with his own ability one day. All of this was because of the strange meteor that made a mysterious spiritual field space appear in his Dantian. Up to now, Lin Su didn't know the origin of this mysterious spiritual field space in his body. He only knew that the green seedling in the middle of the spiritual field had the terrifying ability to devour various energy of different attributes and transform them into spiritual root attributes. The spiritual field can consume energy bodies such as spirit stones to ripen the treasures of heaven and earth and improve their grades. At the same time, it can also make up for the incomplete jade slips of the exercises. Speaking of incomplete jade slips of exercises, Lin Su now has 2 of them. One is the Dayan Shenju that he got the earliest. At present, it has made up for 1/4 of the divine consciousness. However, according to the records in it, it must wait until the cultivation level breaks through to the foundation building stage before trying it, otherwise it will definitely end up with a broken divine consciousness and a soul flying away. Another piece is the jade slip of the cultivation method that Lin Su selected from the fairy treasure house of Wangtian Fairy City. He glanced at it at that time and found that it was a cultivation method with all attributes, called Xiantian Beijian. Just looking at the general chapter at the front is very bluffing. It is said to include all things in the heavens and can be indestructible after being completely refined. Unfortunately, it is a fragment. There are only the cultivation methods for the foundation building period. The later Jindan period and above are missing. In the eyes of others, it has no effect. After all, no one would be stupid enough to change the cultivation method after cultivating to the foundation building period. But for Lin Su, who has a wonderful spiritual field space, this is an incredible heaven-defying cultivation method. It doesn't matter if it is incomplete, the spiritual field space can be supplemented. Lin Su only needs to find a way to quickly improve his cultivation and earn more spirit stones. The biggest feature of Xiantian Beijian is that it allows practitioners to form multiple Dantians. With several spiritual root attributes, several Dantians can be formed, and the total amount of true essence that can be stored will be doubled accordingly. It can be said that among the same level, the practitioners of Xiantian Beijian are almost invincible. However, the difficulty of cultivation is also increasing exponentially. For example, the total amount of true essence that others need to accumulate to break through from the Qi training stage to the foundation building stage is 1, while the total amount of true essence that a Xiantian Beijian practitioner with 3 spiritual roots needs to accumulate is 3. Others can build a foundation with 1 foundation building pill, while a Xiantian Beijian practitioner with 3 spiritual roots needs 3 foundation building pills. Lin Su now has 8 spiritual roots, namely gold, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, and poison. Once he starts to practice Xiantian Beijian, he not only needs to store 8 times the true essence of his current cultivation, but also needs at least 8 foundation building pills to successfully build a foundation. When Lin Su thought of this, he felt a headache. As for building a foundation first and then practicing Xiantian Beijian, that is even more unrealistic. With the number of Lin Su's spiritual roots, once he starts practicing, his true essence and the Tao foundation he has built will be divided into 8 Dantians. Even if he has already built a foundation, he may fall back to the Qi training stage, and it will be even more difficult to build a foundation in the future. If you stick your head out, you'll get a knife. If you hide your head, you'll get a knife too. It's better to start early than late. Now is the time to do it. If you start practicing now, although the difficulty of building the foundation will increase, your cultivation will not decrease. You only need to cultivate the differentiated Dantian and spiritual roots from scratch to the 10th level of the Qi refining stage. it is impossible for Lin Su to give up the Xiantian treasure mirror. In this case, it is better to start practicing now and seize the time to improve your cultivation. Putting a chi recovering pill in his mouth to restore his true essence, Lin Su began to mobilize his true essence according to the records on the Xiantian treasure mirror. As the exercises were running, 8 cyclones were generated next to the Dantian in Lin Su's body. A trace of true essence power surged out of the Dantian and sank into the cyclones. With the integration of the power of the true essence, the 8 cyclones gradually grew larger and began to evolve into the shape of a Dantian. In the original Dantian, the green seedlings in the spiritual field space swayed gently, and the 8 colors of streamers wrapped around them flowed rapidly, slowly breaking away from the constraints of the green seedlings and rushing out of the spiritual field space, and like the true essence, they flowed out of the Dantian and sank into the 8 newly born Dantians. With the immersion of the 8 streamers, the 8 Dantians were officially formed, and slowly rotated with the original Dantian as the center of the circle. Lin Su suddenly felt a sense of emptiness in his true essence, and hurriedly swallowed the chi recovering pill that had been in his mouth for a long time, and then he felt better. According to the records of the Xiantian treasure mirror, he continued to practice the exercises, and the meridians were derived from the 8 newly born Dantians and converged on the main meridians of the original Dantian. As a sound like fairy music sounded from his body, Lin Su suddenly opened his eyes, and a gleam of light flashed in his eyes. It's done. But it seems a bit strange. How come there is an extra Dantian than what is recorded in the technique? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 23. According to the records in Xiantian Beijian, several spiritual roots will form several Dantians, including the original Dantians. However, Lin Su now only has 8 spiritual root attributes, but has formed 9 Dantians. Among them, the original Dantian has no spiritual root attributes at all. Is it because of the spirit field space? After much deliberation, there is only one explanation. The spirit field space still remains within the original Dantian. Except for the halo surrounding the green seedlings disappearing, the rest is no different from before. The cultivation level has not dropped much, but it has only dropped from the top of the 10th level of the Qi refining stage. It's the early stage of the 10th level of the Qi refining stage. Compared with the original Dantian, there is no difference between the newly generated Dantian and the original Dantian except that the cultivation level is only one level of Qi refining stage, but Lin Su still feels a very weak feeling. Of course, it was not that Lin Su was really weak, but that the difference in cultivation between the new 8 Dantians and the original Dantians was too great, giving Lin Su the illusion of weakness. Originally, I was planning to break through the foundation building stage as soon as possible, but now it seems that this date may be greatly postponed again. After searching the body with his spiritual consciousness, Lin Su showed a wry smile. Originally he only needed to feed 1 mouth, but now he needed to feed 9 at the same time, and 8 of them were so hungry that their chests were touching their backs. Sure, time. The first step of practicing Xiantian Beijian has been completed. Next, all you need to do is continue to run the exercises to raise all the Dantian cultivation levels to the peak of the 10th level of the Qi refining period. Lin Su suddenly remembered what Fatty Huang said about going to the chore hall to assign tasks the next morning. He didn't feel the passage of time at all during this practice. Could he have missed the time? I quickly opened the door and walked out. It was already bright outside, but I didn't know if it was just one night or several days. Looking next door, Li Hao and Han Shui were not there. Lin Su did not dare to neglect, spread out and rushed towards Tianjian Peak where the chore hall was located. Senior brother Lin, you are finally here. We thought you were busy practicing and forgot about the task assignment. After passing the Iron Chain Bridge and arriving at Tianjian Peak, just before reaching the stairs, they saw Li Hao and Han Shui walking down the stairs. It's true that I lost track of time while practicing. Have you all been assigned tasks? Lin Su smiled sheepishly. Well, this fat man Huang is quite good at life. The tasks assigned to both of us are quite good. I will help the master in the alchemy stage to refine weapons, and junior sister Han will go to the alchemy room to help. They are both fat men. Li Hao's face was full of joy. He helped the monks in the alchemy stage to refine weapons. It was a rare job and it would greatly help improve the weapon refining ability. Han Shui was also a nice job to help in the alchemy room, and she could get a lot medicinal pills for cultivation. It is indeed a good job. Lin Su was slightly surprised. Whether he was an assistant to a monk in the alchemy stage or a servant in the alchemy room, it was a job that many people were competing for. It was really weird that that fat man was given to Li Hao and Han Shui. Li Hao and Han Shui were going to report, and Lin Su was also busy going to the chore hall to assign tasks. After exchanging a few words, the three of them parted ways. Lin Su came to the miscellaneous affairs hall. Fatty Huang was still half lying on the bamboo chair as he was yesterday. A disciple in Xianxia who was on the 4th level of the qi refining stage stood behind him and fanned him. The difference from yesterday was that when he saw Lin Su come in, Fatty Huang didn't stand up and greet Lin Su with a smile at all, and his attitude was extremely cold. Senior brother Huang, I'm here to receive the mission. It's junior brother Lin. Your task has been assigned. Go and help Master Sword Lingzi manage the spiritual herbs in the spiritual medicine garden. Glancing at Lin Su, Fatty Huang pointed to the table beside him. The mission card is on the table. Just take it and go to Linko Garden to report. Does the Linko Garden manage Linko? This job sounds good, but why did the disciple in green who was fanning behind him look so strange when he heard Jian Lingzi's name? There was a trace of pity in his eyes when he looked at him. Why don't you go? Master Jian Lingzi is still waiting for you. Seeing the strange look on Lin Su's face, Fatty Huang's face darkened and he said displeasedly. Then senior brother Huang, I won't disturb you anymore, take my leave. Picking up the task card on the table, Lin Su cupped his hands towards Fatty Huang and walked out of the chore hall. Humph. It's just a dream for a casual cultivator with no background and no knowledge of the ways of the world to get a good job. Seeing Lin Su's figure disappearing outside the door, Fatty Huang snorted with disdain. He had already sent people to find out the identities of Lin Su and the others. Unlike Li Hao and Han Shui, who were born into noble families, Lin Su was simply unknown. The little casual cultivators who had been passed down were not as good as Li Hao and Han Shui and sent many spiritual stones to Fatty Huang. Naturally, Fatty Huang felt unhappy. This fat man Huang has such a big difference in attitude before and after. I'm afraid he knows that I am a casual cultivator. No wonder he wants us to come here again today to receive errands. As soon as he walked out of the door of the miscellaneous hall, Lin Su's face darkened. It was not that he had never thought of giving Fatty Huang some spiritual stones as a bribe, but now that he had 8 more Dantians, his spiritual stones were not even enough for him. Where is the extra for Fatty Huang? What's more, Fatty Huang looked like a greedy old man. Even if Lin Su gave him the spirit stone, he probably wouldn't get any good jobs. The spiritual grass garden is on the spiritual sword peak southeast of Tianjian Peak. Lin Su came to the outside of the spiritual grass garden with a mission card. After seeing the mission card, the disciple guarding the spiritual grass garden looked at Lin Su with sympathy. With a look on his face, he patted Lin Su on the shoulder and sighed, Junior brother Lin, right? Your life is at stake. If you can't stand it, come out quickly. Don't hold on. It's strange why everyone reacts like this when mentioning Sword Lingzi. The Xingyi disciples in the miscellaneous affairs hall were like this before, and the guard disciples are still like this now. Could it be that Sword Lingzi is a man-eating ghost? Thinking in his mind, Lin Su couldn't help but ask. Junior brother, you must have just arrived at Sword God sect, right? Seeing Lin Su nodded, the guarding disciple sighed and said, it's no wonder. Master Jian Lingzi can be regarded as the most difficult person to serve in the entire Sword God sect. Our Sword God sect mainly focuses on practicing swordsmanship, and Sword Spirit Master Zi has no interest in swordsmanship and only likes to grow spiritual herbs and elixirs. I don't know how he reached such a state in the late stage of pill formation. That's all. Of course it's more than that. If it were just like this, Master Jian Lingzi wouldn't make everyone so afraid. The guarding disciple took a look at the spiritual grass garden and lowered his voice and said, Master Jian Lingzi regards his spiritual herbs and elixirs as more important than himself, and his requirements for his assistants are extremely strict. Harsh, none of the disciples who have helped him take care of the spiritual herbs and elixirs have been able to last for 3 months. They were either sent to the mines to suffer for not meeting his requirements or were beaten to death or injured by him in anger. The last job that the entire Sword God sect's disciples want to take is to come to the Linko Garden to help Master Sword Lingzi take care of the spiritual grass and elixirs. Junior brother Lin, you must have offended senior brother Huang, otherwise he wouldn't have handed over this hot potato for you. I see. Lin Su suddenly understood. No wonder when he heard that he was arranged to come to Linko Garden to help Jian Lingzi take care of the spiritual herbs and elixirs, others would have a look of pity on his face, thinking that he must be unlucky. Junior brother Lin, now you understand how terrible a chore this is, right? Listen to senior brother's advice, if it doesn't work, give up quickly, go give Fatty Huang some gifts and ask him to arrange a new job for you, your life is important. Thank you, senior brother, for telling me the truth. Junior brother, I will remember it. Lin Su was very grateful for the advice of the guarding disciple, bowed and walked into the spiritual grass garden. As soon as he entered the Linko garden, a fragrant aroma belonging to Linko's elixirs hit his nostrils. Looking around, Lin Su was dazzled by the precious herbs in the garden. Boy, are you the new disciple? Since you are here and you are still wandering around outside, do you want me to invite you in personally? Lin Su was marveling to himself when suddenly an impatient scolding sound came from the depths of the Linko garden. It's Master Jian Lingzi. Lin Su was startled. He heard the voice and recognized the person. It seemed that this Master Jian Lingzi was indeed not an easy person to get along with. Disciple Lin Su, is. Lin Su bowed in the direction of the sound. Before he could finish his words, a huge suction force suddenly came from him. His body flew involuntarily towards the depths of the spiritual grass garden. When he reacted, he was already standing in a room. In the wooden house, sitting on the chair in front of him was a middle-aged man dressed in white. Disciple Lin Su, I have met Master Jian Lingzi. The middle-aged man in white didn't have the slightest aura of an immortal cultivator on his body, and he looked like a mortal. But Lin Su knew that the person in front of him must be Jian Lingzi, the late-stage pill-forming master who was rumored to be the most difficult to serve. The 3 Peiyu and Guo trees in the front yard are left to you to take care of. The planting method is recorded in this jade slip. The middle-aged man in white, that is, Jian Lingzi, remained motionless. A stream of light flew out of his arms and landed in Lin Su's hand. It was a sapphire slip. Master, what are you? Lin Su was stunned. With these ideas, he was given a task directly. If you take good care of yourself, you will be rewarded. If it dies, huh? With an expressionless snort, Jian Lingzi waved his sleeves. Lin Su felt a strong wind blowing towards him, and his whole body was blown out of the cabin. When he regained his sight, he was already standing in the medicine garden in the front yard. In front of him were the 3 Peiwen fruit seedlings that Jian Lingzi asked him to take care of. What a weirdo! Lin Su shook his head and murmured in a low voice, then checked the jade slips given by Jian Lingzi. Since he had been given a task, he should try his best to complete it. It turns out that Pei-Yuan fruit is one of the main ingredients in refining the Foundation Establishment pill. It's really great. After reading the contents recorded in the jade slips, Lin Su couldn't help but be overjoyed. It turned out that the jade slips not only recorded the cultivation method of Pei-Yuan fruit, but also specifically stated that Pei-Yuan fruit was one of the two main herbs for refining the foundation building pill. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 24. To say that what Lin Su needs most urgently now is none other than the foundation establishment pill. You must know that he now has 9 Dantians, and it will take at least 9 foundation establishment pills to successfully break through to the foundation establishment stage. However, the foundation establishment pill is not an ordinary pill. Even a large sect like the Sword God sect cannot have too many stocks. Plus there are so many disciples. It is lucky to get 1 or 2 pills, let alone 9 or even more. The only way is to get the recipe for the foundation establishment pill and refine the foundation establishment pill yourself. Judging from the information in this jade slip, Xianxia must have the recipe for the foundation establishment pill in his hand. He said before that as long as you take good care of him, you will be rewarded. Does the reward include the recipe for the foundation establishment pill? If you think about it carefully, this is not impossible. Lin Su's eyes flashed with fire, and he turned around and walked along the road paved with sapphire towards the depths of the spiritual grass garden. It turns out that I was sucked into this wooden house just now. There is not much difference between the backyard and the front yard deep in the Linko garden, except that the grade of Linko is much higher. At the end of the road, there is only a 100 square meter wooden house, which looks no different from an ordinary wooden house. Didn't I ask you to take care of Pei-Yuan Guo? Don't you understand what I'm saying? Xianxia's angry voice came from inside the wooden house. Lin Su hurriedly bowed and said, Master's instructions are naturally unnecessary for the disciples, but the disciples have a few questions that need to be clarified by the Master. Oh? What are your questions? Tell me and listen. If you don't mean anything, I won't let you off lightly. Xianxia's words made Lin Su's heart tremble. This master was really moody, but for the sake of the foundation building elixir, Lin Su still had to bite the bullet and said, Excuse me, master, how can I take good care of this Pei-Yuan Guo? Pei-Yuan fruit is not easy to grow. If one of the 3 matures, you are qualified. What if 2 plants mature? If 2 plants are mature, I will give you a reward if you exceed the task. Boy, planting spiritual grass is not as simple as you think, don't be too confident. Master, this disciple doesn't want any other reward, I just want the foundation building pill recipe. After Lin Su finished speaking, the wooden house suddenly fell into silence. The depressing atmosphere made Lin Su's palms sweat a little, but he still gritted his teeth and stood upright without taking a step back. After a while, a burst of laughter from Xianxia suddenly came from the wooden house. Good boy. You are the first one in these decades who dares to negotiate terms with me. Okay, I promise you, as long as you can make the 2 if the Zhu Pei-Yuan fruit matures, I will give you the foundation building pill formula as a reward. But if not even 1 plant matures, don't blame me for being ruthless. Thank you, master. After cupping his fists and saluting, Lin Su turned around and walked towards the front yard. After stepping out of the front yard door, he couldn't help but let out a long breath and felt that his whole back was soaked with cold sweat. In the situation just now, if Xianxia got angry and attacked him, Lin Su would really have no ability to protect himself. Fortunately, this situation did not happen. Now that I have received Xianxia's promise, all that is left is to take care of the Pei-Yuan Guo until it matures. With the spirit field space, it shouldn't be a problem. Wiping the cold sweat from his forehead, Lin Su raised a smile and walked towards the medicine garden where Pei-Yuan Guo was. In the wooden house, Xianxia withdrew his consciousness from searching Lin Su, and a playful smile flashed in his eyes. Lin Su? Interesting little guy. I want to see if your ability is as good as your courage. Same size. Carefully digging out the 3 Peyuan fruit seedlings from the medicine garden, Lin Su put them into the spirit field space with a thought. He waited quietly for a while, and there was no other movement. It seemed that Xianxia he didn't notice him, so he couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, and ducked into the small wooden hut prepared for the disciples who were helping the Linko garden. Taking out the storage bag containing the spirit stones, Lin Su thought, and 10 low-grade spirit stones flew out of the storage bag and entered the spirit field space. At the same time, a piece of Lin Su's consciousness was also in the spirit field space. Showed his figure. 3 Peyuan grass seedlings were planted neatly in the spiritual field, and 10 low-grade spiritual stones had been piled in the pits next to the spiritual field. A trace of spiritual energy was quickly emanating from the spiritual stones. Integrate into the underground. I don't know how many low-grade spiritual stones are needed to mature these 3 Peyuan grasses. I'd better guard them here and replenish the spiritual stones at any time. Leaving a piece of his spiritual consciousness in the spirit field space, Lin Su began to run Xianxia skills, absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to condense the true essence, and improve the cultivation of the 8 Dantians. As Xianxia technique was used over and over again, in the Linko garden, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth began to quickly gather towards the cabin where Lin Su was located, and gradually there were waves of howling wind. In the wooden house deep in the spirit grass garden, Xianxia, who was flipping through several spiritual herbs, suddenly raised his head. His consciousness instantly covered the entire spirit grass garden, and a flash of light flashed in his eyes. What a terrifying spiritual energy absorption with such speed, he can actually activate the flow of spiritual energy with his cultivation level. The Peyuan fruit seedlings in the medicine garden are also missing. This kid seems to have a lot of interesting secrets. Lin Su, who was practicing, did not know that the spiritual energy of heaven and earth in the entire Linko garden was completely rioting because of his relationship, but it seemed to be because of the formation that enveloped the entire Linko garden. Outside the Linko garden, nothing out of the ordinary. Nearly a month has passed. Lin Su has not stepped out of the cabin these days. He has been practicing except for occasionally stopping to take some spiritual grains. The first 10 low-grade spirit stones in the spirit field space have long been used up. Lin Su's other consciousness has already controlled the storage bag to replenish the spirit stones several times. The 3 cultivators in the spirit field have been the fruit has grown up, with green branches and leaves, and light red flowers sprouting at the top. It is not far from blooming and bearing fruit. The LinkedIn space is indeed magical. It seems that it won't be long before these 3 Peyuan fruit plants mature. According to the records in the jade slips given by Xianxia to Lin Su, even in this spiritual grass garden, it takes at least half a year for Peyuan fruit to mature from seedlings, and the survival rate is extremely low. It has only been a month now. The 3 Peyuan fruits are about to bloom. At this rate, they will definitely mature and bear fruit in less than half a month. By then, you can ask Xianxia for the formula of the foundation building pill. No, you can't ask for rewards so quickly, it will arouse Xianxia's suspicion. If the secret of the LinkedIn space is accidentally exposed, it will definitely be a disaster for Lin Su. Just wait a little longer, and you can cultivate 3 more Peyuan guo plants. After the Peyuan fruit matures, after picking the fruit, buds will sprout at the fruiting position. If the buds are carefully cultivated, there is a chance that they can form new seedlings. When the time comes, the Peyuan fruit cultivated from these seedlings will be used for cross-fertilization. Lin Su, you can get 3 Peyuan fruits by yourself. It's just that Lin Su doesn't have many spirit stones left. I'm afraid he won't be able to support the second batch of 3 Peyuan fruits to mature, so he must find a way to get some spirit stones. Seeking funding from Xianxia? I'm afraid it won't work. Now that Lin Su hasn't taken out anything, Xianxia will pay attention to him. It seems that I can only sell the Qi restoration pill and Peyuan grass in my hand, and wait for a while first. I just don't know where the private transactions between the disciples of the Sword God sect are. Lin Su opened the door and walked out. He came to the gate of the backyard of Linko Garden, bowed inside and said, "Master Xianxia, this disciple needs to go out of the garden for something." There was no response. Lin Su raised the volume and repeated both sides, but still did not receive any response. It seemed that Xianxia, a small person like him, did not take it seriously at all. Lin Su was too lazy to say anything anymore and turned around and walked out of the spiritual grass garden. After asking the guarding disciples, Lin Su learned that there was an internal market at Xianxia Peak within the Sword God sect, where most of the disciples in the sect conducted transactions. After thanking him, Lin Su rushed towards Xianxia Peak. The guarding disciple looked at his leaving figure, smacked his lips and sighed, "It's so pitiful that you have to pawn something so soon." Xianxia Peak is to the west of Lingjian Peak, and the distance is not too far away. In just one stick of incense, Lin Su arrived at the market at the foot of Xianxia Peak. Because it is an internal market, in order to prevent the situation where ordinary people are innocent and guilty of carrying a jade, you can get a mask at the entrance of the market. After wearing it, your face, breath and voice can be completely hidden. The rental fee for each time is a low-grade spiritual stone. After renting a mask, Lin Su walked into the market. The market in Xianxia Peak is 3 times larger than the market in the market town at the foot of Xiun sect, and the items for sale are also dazzling and diverse. Because of the mask he was wearing, Lin Su couldn't tell who was a disciple in the Qi training stage and who was a disciple in the foundation building stage, but presumably the majority of them were disciples in the Qi training stage. As for the monks in the golden core stage, usually they would not appearing in the market of such low-level disciples. Even if he did appear, he would not bother to hide his identity. After walking around the market, Lin Su exchanged 90% of the Qi rejuvenation pills and 5 mid-grade Peyuan grasses for spirit stones. There were more than 1,000 low-grade spirit stones in total, hoping to ripen the Peyuan fruit. It shouldn't be a problem. "Senior brother Lin, are you also coming to the market to buy things?" After leaving the market, Lin Su was about to leave when suddenly Han Shui's voice sounded behind him. Lin Su looked back and saw Li Hao and Han Shui walking towards him side by side. "Yeah, just take a stroll and deal with the extra Qi restoration pills you have on hand. You've made great progress in your cultivation." Lin Su smiled. After seeing each other for a month, the auras of Li Hao and Han Shui became a lot more solemn. Although they were still at the 10th level of Dzogchen during the Qi training period, they probably gained a lot of benefits in these days. Senior brother Lin seems to be getting more and more unpredictable. Li Hao's words were not a compliment. Lin Su's cultivation level had not changed much, and he was still at the 10th level of the Qi training stage. However, there was a faint and intimidating aura exuding, which made Li Hao couldn't help but be secretly frightened. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 25. Senior brother Lin, I heard that you were assigned to Master Xianxia. Isn't it difficult? If you need any help, just ask. Don't forget that we are allies. Although Li Hao's help was not needed, Li Hao's words still made Lin Su feel warm in his heart. No matter what happened in the future, at least for now, this ally seemed pretty good. After separating from Li Hao and Han Shui, Lin Su went straight back to Linko Garden. He learned from Li Hao and Li Hao that in half a year, there will be a potential test for disciples in the Qi refining stage. Those who perform well will have the opportunity to receive rewards from the sect. So Lin Su must seize the little time left and work hard to improve his cultivation. 3 months later. The second batch of 3 Peyuan fruit plants are almost mature, and it's time to transplant them to the medicine garden. After the first batch of 3 Peyuanguo plants matured, Lin Su used the buds to cultivate 3 new Pe Wanguo plants. Now these 3 Pe Wanguo plants have also produced fruits. Although they are still very green, it's time to move it out of the linked space, otherwise there will be no way to explain it to Xianxia when the time comes. In the past 3 months, Lin Su returned to the business of reselling spiritual herbs in Wangtian Ferry City. In addition to practicing, Lin Su would go to the market every half-month and buy some low-grade low-level spiritual herbs at low prices. Grass, and sell the ripened mid-level spiritual grass at a high price. Using the spirit stones he earned, Lin Su quickly condensed his true energy to improve the cultivation of the 8 Dantians. Within 3 months, he raised the cultivation levels of the 8 Dantians to the 4th level of the Qi refining stage, but he also used up all the energy. Apart from the 3 Pe fruits and 2 middle-grade hemostatic vines in his hands, Lin Su only had less than 10 low-grade spiritual stones left in his body, and his pocket was cleaner than his face. But this is nothing. As long as the cultivation level is improved, the spiritual stones can be earned back. 10 days later, the 3 Pe fruits transplanted into the medicine garden finally matured, and a strange fragrance emanated from the jasper-like Pe fruits and spread throughout the spiritual herb garden. I actually asked you to do it. All 3 Pe fruit plants are ripe. Just as he was about to ask Xianxia to come for acceptance inspection, Xianxia had appeared silently behind Lin Su, looking straight at the 3 Pe fruits exuding an alluring fragrance, his face full of shock. Color. Although he admired Lin Su's confidence, in Xianxia's view, it was good that Lin Su could successfully cultivate 1 Pe fruit. He never expected that Lin Su could cultivate all 3 Pe fruit to maturity. And it looks pretty good. Boy, how did you do that? After looking at it steadily for a while, Xianxia turned his head and looked at Lin Su with fiery eyes, completely lacking the composure that a master in the pill formation stage should have. Just follow the method in the jade slip you gave me, master. We couldn't talk about the linked space, so Lin Su could only pretend to be dumbfounded, insisting that he was the Pe fruit cultivated according to the instructions in the jade slip given by Xianxia. Boy, use the spiritual rain technique once and show me. Spirit rain technique. Lin Su was stunned, but he still followed the instructions and cast the spiritual rain technique. A small dark cloud instantly formed above the 3 Pe fruits, and the spiritual rain containing abundant spiritual power was accurately sprinkled on the 3 Pe fruits. Xianxia's eyes became brighter and brighter. With such precise spell control, no wonder you can cultivate these 3 Pe fruits to maturity. Xianxia looked at Lin Su as if he were looking at a rare treasure, making Lin Su feel his scalp numb. Master, my disciple's mission has been exceeded, right? Shouldn't you fulfill your promise and give me the recipe for the foundation establishment pill? You kid. Xianxia was amused by Lin Su's flattering expression. Don't worry, I keep my word. Since you have exceeded the task, the recipe for the foundation establishment pill belongs to you. As he spoke, he flipped his wrist, and a jade slip appeared in his hand, and he threw it towards Lin Su. Thank you, master. Lin Su caught the jade slip as if he had found a treasure, and his spiritual consciousness couldn't wait to explore the jade slip. Sure enough, it is the recipe for foundation establishment pill. A trace of ecstasy surged through Lin Su's heart. After so much effort, he finally got it. Boy, I have taken away 2 Pe. The remaining one is your extra reward. Come to the backyard early tomorrow morning. I have a new task for you. When Lin Su raised his head after hearing the sound, there was no trace of Xianxia, and 2 of the 3 spirit fruits had also been taken away. This Grand Master of Sword Spirit Sun doesn't seem to be that difficult to get along with. With a smile, Lin Su put the remaining spirit fruit into the spiritual field space, turned around and walked into the cabin. We have obtained the recipe for the foundation establishment pill, but if we want to refine the foundation establishment pill, we still have a lot of things to prepare. Back in the house, Lin Su read the recipe for the Foundation Establishment pill carefully and couldn't help but frown. According to the records in the elixir prescription, the materials for refining the Foundation building pill are composed of 2 main herbs and 4 side medicines. The 2 main medicines are Gubenchen and Pe Wangguo. The 4 side medicines are Huaxiuteng and Baiwen. Grass flowers, blood marrow branches and fairy thorns. Lin Su now has 4 Pe fruits, and he can continue to cultivate them with the buds. Lin Su remembers that there are people selling them in the sword god sex market for the ginseng. Although he has no memory of the other 4 side medicines, as long as he is willing to spend the spirit stone, it's not difficult to acquire it. It's just that Lin Su is extremely poor now. It's not easy to earn enough spirit stones in a short period of time to purchase materials. What's more, there is a record in the recipe of the Foundation Establishment pill that the Foundation Establishment pill is being refined. The rate of explosive elixirs when making them is quite terrifying. Once explosive elixirs appear, the alchemy materials obtained with such painstaking efforts will become a pile of waste. This kind of loss cannot be made up by spending spiritual stones. By the way, this alchemy recipe was given to me by Master Xianxia. He is a great alchemy master. How could I have forgotten this? Lin Su suddenly slapped his forehead. If you want to learn the method of alchemy, of course it is best to learn it from Master Xianxia. Among the sword god sect, except for the ancestors in the Yuanying stage, who else has the knowledge of alchemy? My skills can surpass Master Xianxia's. But I'm afraid Master Xianxia won't teach me so easily, right? Thinking of this, Lin Su couldn't help but smile bitterly. It was really not easy to successfully refine enough foundation building pills. It was a headache to pass one level after another. Forget it, anyway, Master Xianxia asked me to go to him early tomorrow morning. Then I can ask him for mercy and see if he can teach me how to make alchemy. Shaking his head to throw these troubles out of his mind, Lin Su picked up the Xiantian treasure mirror and continued to practice. Early the next morning, Lin Su arrived early outside the wooden house deep in the Linko garden. Master, disciple Lin Su came as ordered. Come in. Xianxia's faint voice came from inside the house, and Lin Su gently opened the door and walked in. Xianxia was sitting on a chair drinking tea. When he saw Lin Su approaching, he closed the door with a wave of his sleeves and pointed. Pointing to the chair next to him, sit down and try my lingua fairy tea. This, disciple doesn't dare. Sit down if I ask you to, there is so much nonsense. Xianxia frowned in displeasure, and Lin Su had no choice but to sit down as he was told, and took a sip from the spiritual tea in front of him. He felt a strong spiritual energy flow straight from his mouth into his belly, spreading throughout his limbs and bones. Inside, my whole body felt refreshed. What a rich spiritual energy, it is indeed the immortal family spiritual tea. After admiring, Lin Su looked at Xianxia and asked, Master, you said that you have a new task to give to your disciples. What is it? I have to leave the sword god sect for a period of time. During this period, you will take care of all the spiritual herbs in this spiritual grass garden. When I come back, I will give you corresponding rewards based on your care. Master, are you leaving the sword god sect? How long will it take to go? There are so many spiritual herbs, and the disciple is worried that he is not able to handle them. Lin Su was shocked. He didn't know most of the many spiritual herbs in the spiritual grass garden, so how could he take care of them? Since I asked you to take care of me, I have my reasons. Are you doubting my vision? Xianxia frowned and said displeasedly. Lin Su hurriedly stood up and clasped his fists and said, I don't dare. It's just that my knowledge is shallow. I don't know many of the spiritual herbs in this spiritual herb garden. I am afraid that I will betray my master trust. This jade slip records the detailed information and cultivation methods of all the spiritual herbs in the spiritual grass garden. Take it and read it carefully, and keep it in my mind. Xianxia threw a jade slip to Lin Su. I have made up my mind. You have to do it whether you want to do it or not. Not only do you have to do it, but you have to do it well, otherwise you will look good when I come back. Why is the sword spirit master such a rogue? Lin Su stared at Xianxia dumbfounded, rolling his eyes in his heart. This is simply forcing someone to do something difficult. What a rogue! There was nothing he could do. He was the master of the golden core stage, but he was just a small disciple of the chi refining stage. Lin Su could only pinch his nose and endure it. However, since he is asked to help with something, it cannot be done in vain. Yes, I will do my best, but master, I have a request. I hope master can teach me how to make alchemy. You want to learn alchemy? Xianxia looked at Lin Su with some surprise, and then thought of the foundation building elixir recipe that Lin Su asked him for, and nodded clearly. If you want me to teach you the method of alchemy, it depends on your performance. If you can satisfy me, I might as well teach you. Thank you, master. Lin Su was overjoyed and bowed deeply to Xianxia. When he raised his head again, Xianxia's figure was gone and he had already left. It's so easy to just leave as soon as you say it. With a wry smile, Lin Su left the inner courtyard, returned to his cabin, took out the jade slip and looked at it carefully. 2 months passed in a flash, and there was still no news about the elder sword spirit. Lin Su was already quite familiar with the various spiritual herbs in the spiritual grass garden. To Lin Su's surprise, in addition to the strengthening ginseng, the other 4 side medicines for refining the foundation establishment pill are grown in the spiritual grass garden. In the past 2 months, Lin Su used the space in the spiritual field to ripen several strains of the 4-flavor auxiliary medicine, and also purchased a lot of gub and ginseng in the market. Of course, the price was that there were not many hard-earned spiritual stones left. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 26. In half a month or so, it will be the day for the potential test of chi refining disciples. There is still no news about Master Xianxia, and it is estimated that he will not be able to come back for a while. Lin Su's 8 Dantian cultivation has been upgraded to the 6th level of chi refining. After all, he only needs to condense the true essence in it, and there is no bottleneck in realm perception and cultivation. In addition, Lin Su is not stingy with spirit stones and pills, so his cultivation is naturally much faster. The test of potential disciples in the chi refining period is a test held by the Sword God sect every 2 years. It is naturally incomparable with the sect competition held every 5 years, but it is crucial for chi refining disciples. Chi refining disciples who fail to meet the standards in 2 consecutive tests will be expelled from the Sword God section correspondingly. Chi refining disciples who perform well in the test will receive different degrees of rewards. What Lin Su lacks most now is spirit stones. Whether it is condensing true essence to improve the 8 Dantian cultivation or cultivating spirit herbs to collect materials for refining foundation pills, they all burn spirit stones. In a word, poor. So this time, Lin Su must take the potential test. If you get good grades, you can take the rewards into your arms. When the time comes, keep the ones that are suitable for you. If they are not very useful, exchange them for spirit stones, which can alleviate your embarrassment to some extent. Half a month passed quickly, especially under the intense training situation, and the day of the potential test came in the blink of an eye. In the past half month, Lin Su's cultivation has improved a little. The cultivation of the 8 Dantians has been raised to the 7th level of the Qi training period, and the overall strength has risen to a higher level. On the day of the test, Lin Su came to the platform of Tianjian Peak early, but found that the high platform of the test was already surrounded by Qi training disciples. Lin Su turned around and did not find Zhang Yunfan, and he was a little disappointed. It has been more than half a year since I came to the Sword God section. In addition to receiving a sound transmission jade slip from Zhang Yunfan, I have not met him yet, and I don't know how this kid is doing. But I think with the support of the Sword Elder Jianmi, plus Zhang Yunfan's evil talent, he must be much more comfortable than Lin Su. Brother Lin. From a distance, Li Hao and Han Shui walked over side by side. Speaking of which, they were together every time they met these days. It seemed that their relationship was developing rapidly, and they were very likely to become Taoist couples. Junior brother Li, junior sister Han, you two are really inseparable. Lin Su smiled and joked. He spent most of his time in the Sword God sect in hard training and had basically no friends. Apart from Zhang Yunfan, who had never shown up, he had a good relationship with Li Hao and Han Shui. Strange, senior brother Li, your cultivation doesn't seem to have improved. Why do I feel that you have become more powerful every time I see you? Han Shui looked at Lin Su in confusion. Her spiritual perception has always been sharp and has never been wrong, so this strange feeling on Lin Su made her quite puzzled. Really? It's probably an illusion. Junior sister Han, your strength has also increased a lot. Lin Su laughed and laughed, secretly admiring him in his heart. He is worthy of being a genius cultivator from a noble family, but his spiritual perception ability is not simple. The test is about to start, let's go. The potential test is conducted on a high platform, using formations to simulate the impact of pressure, and to test and comprehensively evaluate the physical strength, soul strength, and total amount of true essence of each disciple. Except for the disciples who were born and raised in the Sword God sect, those who were selected by the Sword God sect to join the sect basically have a cultivation level no lower than the 8th level of the Qi refining stage. It's just that their cultivation levels are similar, but their strengths are uneven. Wang Chuanyi, bone age of 20, Qi refining stage 9th level, low physical strength, medium soul strength, medium total amount of true essence, and a comprehensive evaluation of 3rd rate. Suji, bone age of 19, Qi refining stage 10th level, medium physical strength, medium soul strength, medium total amount of true essence, and a comprehensive evaluation of 3rd rate. Lu Fang, bone age of 18, Qi refining stage 9th level, medium physical strength, high soul strength, medium total amount of true essence, and a comprehensive evaluation of 2nd rate. The potential of each Qi refining cultivator was evaluated one by one. Most of them were 3rd rate and 2nd rate. Occasionally, some were rated as 4th rate and unqualified, and their faces were full of bitterness, as if they had lost their parents. There were also very few who were rated as 1st rate, but they were rare. Li Hao, bone age of 17, Qi refining 10th level great perfection, medium physical strength, high spiritual strength, high total amount of true essence, comprehensive evaluation is 1st rate. Han Shui, bone age of 17, Qi refining 10th level great perfection, medium physical strength, high spiritual strength, high total amount of true essence, comprehensive evaluation is 1st rate. Li Hao and Han Shui also took the test one after another, and their results were quite good. They ranked among the top among many Qi refining disciples. Fatty Huang from the Miscellaneous Affairs Department smiled brightly and boasted to the follower beside him, I still have a good eye. The children of aristocratic families are extraordinary. When they are promoted to the foundation establishment stage, I can also benefit from it. Next, Lin Su. Finally it was his turn. Lin Su's mind moved, and the wind control technique was already added to his body. He lightly stepped on the platform and floated onto the platform. Shua. A beam of light swept over Lin Su. The disciple who was manipulating the formation at the platform looked at the data displayed on the jade in his hand. Lin Su, bone age 17, Qi training stage 10th level, start the test. Buzz. The formation was activated, and a green light flashed. A force of impact was generated from the formation, acting on Lin Su's body and soul at the same time. The strength was equivalent to the full force of an ordinary Qi training stage 10th level grade perfection cultivator. Is this a potential test? It doesn't seem too difficult. Lin Su's body shook, and the Xiantian treasure mirror started to work automatically. A layer of true energy shield appeared on the surface of his body, sticking to his skin, and steadily withstood the pressure. After a few breaths, the power of the formation was exhausted, and the green light dissipated. Lin Su stood tall in the same place, without retreating a step. The expression on his face was as calm as water, and there was no sign of fatigue. It looks easy. Double the power of the formation. On the stands beside the high platform, a late-stage foundation building cultivator in purple clothes looked at Lin Su with interest and instructed the disciples beside him. This person is called Nai Yun, ranked third among the second-generation disciples. He is the only son of Nai Zhentian, the fifth elder of the Sword God section. He is quite resourceful and has considerable strength in the Sword God section. Even ordinary foundation building disciples have to respectfully salute him and call him Senior Brother Nai. Brother Nai said that the power of the formation will be doubled. After receiving the message from Nai Yun, the disciple who manipulated the formation doubled the power of the formation that was originally to be increased step by step without any hesitation. Strange, how did it become so much stronger all of a sudden? The green light reappeared, and the huge impact force bombarded Lin Su's true energy shield. Lin Su's face suddenly changed, and he couldn't help but take a step back. Humph. The pride in his heart was aroused, and Lin Su used all his strength to operate the Xiantian treasure mirror. The true energy of the 9 Dantians gathered into a torrent and suddenly burst out, directly shattering the green light. Good boy. Nai Yun's eyes suddenly lit up, and he sat up straight, called the disciple next to him and ordered, "Go, double the power again. Brother Nai, if you double it again, it will be close to the attack of a cultivator in the early stage of foundation building. Will it be okay?" The disciple who passed the message said hesitantly, but saw Nai Yun glaring, and was frightened and quickly changed his words, "Yes, I will do it now. You have to double the power, or someone will die." The disciple who manipulated the formation looked at Nai Yun on the stands with some doubts, and saw that the latter nodded without questioning, so he could only grit his teeth and double the power of the formation again. Boom! Lin Su felt as if his whole body was hit by a mountain. He couldn't help but groan and half knelt on the ground. If it weren't for the Xiantian treasure mirror that greatly strengthened his physical strength, he would probably be seriously injured and unconscious. Damn it! Is this a test or murder? Which bastard is doing this to me? Resisting the overwhelming pressure, Lin Su frantically operated the Xiantian treasure mirror. Just when he was about to collapse, the green seedlings in the spiritual field space suddenly shook gently, emitting a strange wave. Lin Su felt the pressure suddenly reduced, and the meridians that were originally injured began to recover rapidly. The green light dissipated, and Lin Su stood up from the ground in a slightly embarrassed manner, with a trace of blood on the corner of his mouth. The disciple in charge of manipulating the formation stared at him in amazement, as if he had seen a ghost. Talent. This kid is definitely a talent. After the test is over, you will find him, and you must make him serve me no matter what. Nai Yun's eyes flashed with brilliance, and he clapped his hands fiercely, looking at Lin Su with greed in his eyes. On the platform, Lin Su walked to the dazed disciple who was manipulating the formation, and waved his hand in front of him. "Brother, the test is over, can we announce the results?" The disciple who was manipulating the formation came back to his senses, swallowed his saliva and announced, "Lin Su, bone age 17, Qi training stage 10, physical strength super, soul strength super, total amount of true essence super, comprehensive evaluation is super first class." Wow! The crowd was in an uproar. Are you sure? Super first class? How many years has it been since there has been a super first-class disciple in the potential test of Qi training disciples? What is the origin of this disciple named Lin Su? Huang, brother Huang, isn't this Lin Su the kid you arranged to the spirit herb garden? He is so powerful. In the crowd under the platform, the follower next to Fatty Huang stared blankly at Lin Su, who was flying down from the platform, swallowed his saliva with some difficulty. Nonsense, do I need you to remind me of this? Fat Huang glared at his follower unhappily, his face full of regret, and he muttered softly, "Damn, I misjudged him. I didn't expect this kid to be so powerful. If he breaks through to the foundation building stage and comes to settle accounts with me, I will definitely be in trouble. No, I have to find a way to remedy this." Rolling his eyes, Fat Huang pulled his follower over and whispered in his ear, "Go and prepare 10 middle-grade spirit stones, 2 bottles of Qi condensation pills, and a table of good banquets for me." Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 27. Senior Brother Huang, what are you? The follower didn't react for a moment, and Fatty Huang glared, "Of course I'm going to ease the relationship. Just prepare when I ask you to prepare, there is so much nonsense." Fatty Huang has spent a lot of money this time. No matter what, he must dispel Lin Su's dislike of him, otherwise he may only have a few good days. Congratulations, Senior Brother Lin, my feeling is indeed right. Awesome, you are worthy of Senior Brother Lin. I really have a good vision. I made you an ally early on, and I will rely on you in the future. Li Hao and Han Shui were also surprised by Lin Su's outstanding performance. They knew that Lin Su was powerful, but they never thought that he would be so much better than them. However, the two of them did not feel jealous because of this. Instead, they were very happy. They had a good relationship with Lin Su. With such a powerful friend, their future journey to immortality would be smoother. In the subsequent tests, several more disciples appeared who received first-class evaluations, but they were somewhat overshadowed by Lin Su's dazzling light. At the end of the test, Lin Su received a reward of 500 low-grade spiritual stones. This was a big fortune for other monks in the Qi refining stage, but it was nothing to Lin Su. But it was better than nothing in the end, and it could somewhat alleviate Lin Su's current dilemma. Having received the reward, Lin Su had no intention of staying any longer. After chatting with Li Hao and Han Shui for a few words, he returned to the Linko garden. "Is Junior Brother Lin here?" Just as he was planning to continue practicing, suddenly there was a voice of inquiry outside the door. "It's Fatty Huang, what is he doing here?" Lin Su was confused and opened the door. Sure enough, it was Fatty Huang from the chore hall. It turns out it's Senior Brother Huang. He's such a rare visitor. I wonder why Senior Brother Huang is here. Lin Su sneered. Lin Su didn't have a good attitude towards Fatty Huang. This guy had no good intentions when he assigned him to the spiritual grass garden. If he hadn't owned the spiritual field space, he would definitely be like the other disciples who were assigned to the spiritual grass garden, because if he doesn't take good care of the spiritual grass, he will be punished or even disabled by Jian Lingzi. "Junior Brother Lin, look at what you said, what can I do for you?" "I haven't seen Junior Brother Lin for a long time, and I miss you very much. I'm here to see you." Fatty Huang looked at Lin Su with a smile on his face, and pointed to the room with a flattering look. "Junior Brother Lin, can we go in and chat? Look at this, he. Come in." As the saying goes, don't hit the smiling person. Even though he hated Fatty Huang, Lin Su still let him into the house. "Tell me, what do you want from me?" Sitting down on the futon, Lin Su looked at the smiling Fatty Huang and sneered. Regarding Lin Su's indifferent attitude, Fatty Huang didn't care at all. He still smiled and took out the banquet from his storage bag and laid it out. At the same time, he also took out the spiritual energy pills and 10 middle-grade spiritual stones and laid them out in front of Lin Su. "Senior brother Huang, what do you mean?" Lin Su was not stupid. Fatty Huang's behavior was clearly to please him. Perhaps it was because his performance today was so shocking that he scared Fatty Huang. "Junior brother Lin, senior brother, I'm here to apologize to you. I was blindsided and offended junior brother Lin before. I hope that, junior brother Lin, you will ignore the faults of small people and don't be as knowledgeable as me. These trivial things are my sincerity, senior brother. I hope junior brother can accept it." Fatty Huang was a bachelor, so he didn't care whether it was embarrassing or not, so he just admitted his mistake. Lin Su laughed. Although Fatty Huang was a villain, he was at least frank and generous. 10 pieces of middle-grade spirit stones, which is equivalent to 1,000 pieces of low-grade spirit stones, and 2 bottles of qi condensing pills, which looked like they were bleeding a lot. "Senior brother Huang is quite candid." Lin Su waved his hand and put the spirit stones and qi condensing pills into his storage bag. "Let's forget about the past. I just hope that I won't receive special care from senior brother Huang in the future. It is better to resolve enemies than to make enemies." Seriously speaking, there is no irresolvable hatred between Lin Su and Fatty Huang. What's more, these spirit stones and qi condensing pills are exactly what Lin Su needs urgently. Of course, of course. Fatty Huang nodded repeatedly. "Junior brother Lin, senior brother will reassign you to a good place. What do you think?" "No need, I'm already used to Linko Garden, so I won't bother senior brother Huang." Lin Su waved his hand. "If nothing happens, I'm going to practice, so I won't keep senior brother Huang around." Fatty Huang's goal had been achieved. After hearing Lin Su's expulsion order, he stood up knowingly. "I happen to have something else to do, so I won't disturb junior brother Lin's practice. I'll take my leave first." This yellow fat man is really versatile and capable of spending a lot of money. After Fatty Huang left, Lin Su looked at the delicacies in front of him. These were not simple delicacies. They were all made of spiritual materials rich in spiritual energy, plus 10 pieces of medium-grade spiritual stones and 2 bottles of qi condensing pills. This fat man Huang went to great lengths to seek his forgiveness. "Come on, there are so many delicious and spiritual foods, it would be a waste not to eat them." Lin Su was happily enjoying a sip of spiritual wine and a mouthful of delicious food when another voice of inquiry came from outside the door. "Is Lin Su here?" The voice is very strange, I think I have never seen it before. What day is it today? Why are they all coming to him? After waving his hand and putting the banquet into his storage bag, Lin Su opened the door, only to see a disciple in the early stages of foundation building standing outside the door. It was Sun Yang, who was sent by Nai Yun to recruit Lin Su. "Uncle, what do you want from me?" There is a clear hierarchy among immortal cultivators. Although he did not know Sun Yang, Lin Su still bowed and asked. "Of course I have something to do with you, otherwise why would I come to this Linko garden?" Sun Yang frowned. "What, you plan to let me stand at the door to talk to you? I was neglectful, please come in." After letting Sun Yang into the room, Lin Su looked at the arrogant Sun Yang and frowned slightly. "Uncle, I wonder what you want to see me for." "Lin Su, I won't beat around the bush with you. You are lucky. You have been favored by senior brother Nai and can become his follower. Take an oath and be loyal to senior brother Nai to ensure your bright future." Sun Yang said in a condescending tone. "Senior brother Nai? Could it be Nai Yun?" Lin Su had also heard about Nai Yun, but Lin Su had no intention of relying on others, let alone swearing allegiance. Oaths may be nothing to ordinary people, but to immortal cultivators, they are taboos that cannot be easily touched, because once a cultivator swears an oath, he will be connected to the heavenly way in the world. Once the oath is violated, will definitely be counterattacked by the power of heaven. Once he swears allegiance to Na Yun, even if Lin Su surpasses Na Yun in the future, he will still be restricted by Na Yun, which is absolutely intolerable for Lin Su. Please tell Master Nai that I am in love with you, but I, Lin Su, have no interest in becoming anyone's follower. I have not been interested before and I will never be interested in the future. Please come back if nothing happens. I still want to practice. Lin Su's words made Sun Yang very angry. Boy, it's your destiny that senior brother Nai thinks highly of you. How dare you refuse? You must think clearly about the consequences of offending senior brother Nai. There's no need to think about it. I've made it very clear, I, Lin Su, will not be anyone's follower, and I don't need anyone else's care. Lin Su smiled coldly, and there was no politeness in his tone. Since the negotiation has broken down, there is no need to give face. So what about the monks in the foundation building period? This is the Linko Garden, Jianlingzi's territory. Even if Jianlingzi is not here, Sun Yang would never dare to attack him here. Okay, very good. Lin Su, remember what you said today, don't regret it. As Lin Su expected, although Sun Yang became angry because of shame, he really did not dare to take action in the Linko Garden. Jianlingzi's weird temper was known to everyone in the Sword God sect, which angered Jianlingzi. The old guy, he will definitely come to kill him with a sword. Not to mention Nai Yun, even Nai Yun's father, fifth elder Nai Zhentian, will not be able to protect him. Go slowly and don't send me away. Looking at Sun Yang's back angrily leaving, Lin Su couldn't help but frown. If he rejected Nai Yun's solicitation so sternly today, Nai Yun would definitely cause trouble for him in the future, and I'm afraid the days ahead would be difficult. No matter what, the soldiers will block you, the water will cover you, and I can't stop Nai Yun if he really wants to cause trouble for me. You'd better seize the time to improve your cultivation. After all, Lin Su's cultivation level is still too low. If he is currently in the foundation building stage, even if it is only in the early stage of foundation building, Nai Yun would not dare to force him like this. Everything must still depend on strength. Taking out the put-away banquet, Lin Su was no longer in the mood to taste it slowly, and quickly swept away all the spiritual materials and wine. Lin Su picked up the Xiantian Beijian and refined the spiritual energy in it. In Nai Yun's cave? What? You said Lin Su doesn't want to swear to be my follower. After listening to Sun Yang's embellished report, Nai Yun's eyes flashed with anger, and then he laughed again. Interesting. How dare you refuse me? I want to see how hard your bones are. Brother Nai, what do you mean? Go and say hello to the steward of the miscellaneous hall, pass my command to that boy Lin Su, and tell him that he has performed well in the potential test. I will promote him to the mine supervisor of Yunmen Ling Mine, and he will arrive at Yunmen within half a month. Report to Ling Mine. A sneer appeared on the corner of Nai Yun's mouth. I want to see if he chooses to go to the Yunmen Ling Mine or choose to be loyal to me. What, Master Nai wants to promote you, junior brother Lin, to be the mine supervisor of Yunmen Ling Mine. Everyone knows that Yunmen Ling Mine is located in a remote place, thousands of miles away from the Sword God section. It is said to be promotion, but in fact it is basically exile. 3 days later, Lin Su received a notice from the Miscellaneous Affairs Hall, asking him to work as a mine supervisor at Yunmenling Mine, thousands of miles away. Li Hao and Han Shui rushed over as soon as they got the news. Lin Su couldn't refuse this arrangement, which was clearly a difficult one. Otherwise, he would be blatantly disobeying his superior's orders and would be executed according to the sect's rules. Yes, I also know that this is Nai Yun making things difficult for me, but I have no choice but to accept it. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 28. Lin Su was quite helpless. Nai Yun's reasons were high-sounding. He knew that he was making things difficult for him, but he couldn't find a reason to refute it. Senior brother Lin, Do you really plan to go to Yunmenling Mine? Although Li Hao and Han Shui were disciples of aristocratic families, they were in Wangtian Immortal City. In this sword god sect, their energy was very little and they were unable to fight against Na Yun. Even if they wanted to help, they were powerless. I don't plan to go, I have to go. Lin Su gritted his teeth. Na Yun just wants to use this method to force me to compromise. I will never comply with his wishes. I just want to be a mine supervisor for one term, which will only last 3 years. If Jian Lingzi was in the sword god sect, given Jian Lingzi's fancy for Lin Su, he would definitely not allow Na Yun to embarrass Lin Su like this. It's a pity that Jian Lingzi went out without a trace, and he didn't know when he would come back. Na Yun, I'm afraid that's why he was so unscrupulous. Lin Su had made up his mind, and Li Hao and Han Shui couldn't persuade him anymore. Moreover, they didn't know how to persuade him, so they could only bow their hands and said, "Senior brother Lin, take care of yourself when you go." Early the next morning, Lin Su arrived at the Miscellaneous Affairs Hall. Disciples during the Qi training period were not yet able to fly with swords. The Yunmenling mine was thousands of miles away, separated by mountains and canyons. If we drove from the ground, we might not be able to reach it in 10 days and a half. So the Sword God sect provides cranes as a means of transportation. Senior brother Huang, I'm here to ride the crane, thank you. Cranes are rare immortal birds that are raised by dedicated disciples in the Sword God sect, but their loan registration is handled by Fatty Huang. Junior brother Lin, I have already prepared it for you. Come with me. Fatty Huang did not change his attitude because Lin Su was exiled to the Yunmenling mine. Instead, he comforted Lin Su with regret as he walked. Junior brother Lin, the Yunmenling mine is located in the Yunmen wasteland. Monsters are rampant, and people's hearts are full of evil. It's complicated, you should be more careful when you go there. We don't know each other since we don't know each other. There are some healing elixirs here, which are some of the wishes of our senior brother. Lin Su didn't expect that Fatty Huang would actually give him the elixir. After being slightly stunned, he took the elixir and bowed to Fatty Huang, "Thank you, senior brother, then I'm welcome." As he spoke, he had already arrived at the crane platform where the crane was riding. Lin Su thanked Fatty Huang again and jumped onto the back of the crane. A high-pitched crane roar sounded, and the crane rose into the sky, carrying Lin Su towards the distance. Fly away. Senior brother Huang, Lin Su has been exiled. Why are you still so polite to him and giving him so many pills? The follower who had been following Fatty Huang couldn't help but asked. Fatty Huang, who was looking at the sea of clouds in a trance, was interrupted from his thoughts. He turned around angrily and hit the follower on the head hard and cursed, "You know nothing. It's easy to add icing on a cake, but it's difficult to give embarrassment in the nick of time." Why was Lin Su exiled too? Isn't it because Yunmenling mine was chosen by Uncle Nai because of his outstanding performance? He would rather go to Yunmenling mine than agree to be loyal to Uncle Nai. This person's arrogance is not trivial. Having said this, Fatty Huang paused, looked at Yunhai and said slowly, "As long as such people are not crushed, they will definitely soar into the sky in the future. This is what I want to bet on. What if he gets crushed? At most, it's just a mistake and a waste of some pills." A shrewd smile flashed across Fatty Huang's face, "but I believe I won't make a mistake on the same person twice." At this time, in Nai Yun's cave. Senior brother Nai, that boy Lin Su is too ignorant of praise. He would rather go to Yunmenling mine than be loyal to you. What should we do next? Should we give him up halfway? Sun Yang made a gesture of wiping his throat. No need. Nai Yun waved his hand, "I have already said hello to the Yunmenling mine. Lin Su will be a polished commander when he arrives at the Yunmenling mine. No one will listen to him. When the time comes, there will be no spiritual stones or elixirs. Give him a little accident every 3 days and see how he cultivates. After 3 years, he will be turned into a waste. Even if he is a genius, it is nothing to worry about. Yes. Senior brother Nai is wise and considerate. This guy Lin Su doesn't know how to praise, so he should be punished like this. Sun Yang was full of compliments and felt happy in his heart. You brat, if you don't give me face, this is what will happen. The crane flew very fast, and it took more than half a day to reach Yunmen wasteland. Lin Su did not enter the mining area, but lowered himself outside the mining area. Before coming to Yunmengling mine, Li Hao and Han Shui helped Lin Su inquire about the news. They learned that this mining area had changed 3 mine supervisors in the past 2 years. The 3 people before him were either killed by monsters or accidentally buried in the mine. In the mines, all of them died unexpectedly. Lin Su didn't believe that there was no trick in it, so he wanted to investigate first to see if he could discover the secret. After casting the water invisibility technique, Lin Su quietly walked into the mining area. It was noon, the sun was blazing, and there was no one in the entire mining area. Lin Su turned around and found his way there. 2 disciples guarding the mine were found at the entrance. The cultivation of these 2 people was at the 3rd level of the Qi training stage, and they were considered to be at the bottom among the sword god section. When Lin Su discovered them, they were sitting under the awning next to the entrance of the mine, leaning on the chairs. There were some wine and food on the stone table beside him, and he was eating and chatting. Have you heard that the sect has sent a new mine supervisor? He will arrive in the next 2 days. I heard it's a young boy named Lin. If you ask me, just promote senior brother Guan to mine supervisor. Who doesn't know that this Yunmenling mine is our senior brother Guan's territory? Apart from Uncle Nai's will, who can? It's hard to talk when you're here. I think the new mine supervisor won't last even 3 months and will lose his life like the previous ones, haha. Listening to the conversation between the 2, Lin Su frowned slightly. As expected, the deaths of the previous 3 mine supervisors were all deliberately arranged by someone. It seems that the water in the Yunmenling mine is very deep. The brother Guan mentioned by these 2 disciples is probably the person Nai Yun placed in the Yunmenling mine. Such a large ling mine produces an unknown number of ling stones every year, and I'm afraid a lot of them go into Nai Yun's pocket. What's this? Senior brother Guan probably made a lot of money too. As long as we find out the dirty tricks in this, we won't be afraid that Guan won't be obedient. After making up his mind, Lin Su ducked into the mine. It was extremely dark in the mine, but to Lin Su, it was no different from daylight. A deep hole with a width of more than 2 people penetrated straight into the ground. Lin Su checked it with his spiritual consciousness and found that the vertical distance was at least hundreds of feet. After blessing himself with the wind control technique, Lin Su jumped into the cave and slowly descended to the bottom. What appeared in front of him were several sloping caves, slowly extending towards the depths of the ground. A faint sound of mining knocking came from the depths of the mine. Choosing a passage at random, Lin Su followed the sound and quickly arrived at a cave space deep in the mine. There were more than a dozen miners in ragged clothes gathered in the 3-foot-sized mine space, and a stench of feces, urine, and sweat permeated the space. These miners were old and young. The old ones had gray hair and the younger ones were only about 10 years old. They were all in ragged clothes and covered with scars, but they were in good spirits. Lin Su could tell that these people they all have some internal energy, which means they are all secular martial arts practitioners. There are several mine holes on the mine walls of the mine space, and bursts of knocking sounds are coming from them. These warriors are considered good in the world. How can they work as miners? Such an environment is difficult for ordinary people to accept, let alone warriors. Lin Su was just wondering when suddenly a cry of surprise came from one of the mines, "Spirit crystal, I dug up the spirit crystal." Then a burly middle-aged man with his upper body exposed came out of the mine, holding a lavender crystal in his hand. Lin Su could clearly feel the huge spiritual energy contained in it. Spiritual crystal. This Yunmenling mine actually produces spiritual crystals, and they are medium-grade spiritual crystals. Why have I never heard of them in the sect? Lin Su was greatly surprised. Among the information that Li Hao and Han Shui helped Lin Su inquire about, they had never heard that there were spiritual crystals produced in the Yunmenling mine, and even middle-grade spiritual stones were extremely rare. But looking at the look on the face of the burly middle-aged man, although his expression was extremely exciting, it was obviously not the first time he had dug up spiritual crystals. Lin Su was about to show up and ask, but he saw the burly man pull out a sharp knife from his waist and make a cut more than 2 feet wide on his stomach, carefully stuffed the spiritual crystal in, and then used a grey rag to cut it. The wound side was tied up. "Quan, do you really want to do this?" An old man with white hair and an extremely old look sighed and looked at the burly man with concern. "Uncle Long, I have to do this. Even if there is a possibility of being discovered, I still have to take a gamble, even if it costs my life. I don't want to stay in this ghost place for another day." The burly man's eyes were full of determination. The old man could only sigh helplessly and said nothing more, but his eyes were full of sadness. Man perishes for wealth, and birds perish for food. But I don't understand, you are not immortal cultivators, so what's the use of spiritual stones and spiritual crystals? Lin Su's voice rang out in the mind space, and at the same time he released the water invisibility technique and revealed his figure. "Are you a human or a ghost?" Faced with the sudden appearance of Lin Su, the miners in the mind space were shocked. Only the burly man was relatively calm. He stepped in front of Lin Su in 2 steps, pointed the sharp knife in his hand at Lin Su and shouted, but the trembling knife Jian still exposed the tension and fear in his heart. "My name is Lin Su, from the Sword God section." "Sword God sect?" A gleam flashed in the white-haired old man's eyes. "Are you an immortal from the Sword God sect?" "Yes, I am the new mine supervisor of the Sword God section. Now that you know my identity, you should know that you have no ability to resist in front of me. Now, answer my question, what do you want the spiritual crystal for?" You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 29. Master Lin, this is my own decision and has nothing to do with anyone else. If you want to kill me, just kill me and let the others go. The burly middle-aged man's expression changed several times, and he suddenly knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Lin Su. "Kill you? When did I say I was going to kill you?" A smile appeared on Lin Su's lips, and with a flick of his hand, the burly middle-aged man felt an irresistible force acting on him, and he stood up involuntarily. "If I wanted your lives, you would have been a pile of corpses long ago. I am indeed an immortal cultivator from the Sword God sect, but I am not the same group as those guys outside." "Okay, it's the same problem as before, you are not immortal cultivators, what do you need spiritual crystals for?" Seeing that Lin Su didn't look like he was faking it, the miners relaxed a little. The white-haired old man glanced at everyone, saluted Lin Su, and said, "Master Lin, I'll call you Elder Long Si, the thing is like this." From Elder Long's narrative, Lin Su had a relatively comprehensive understanding of the situation at Yunmenling Mine. The miners in the Yunmen spiritual mine are all martial arts people who venture into the Yunmen wasteland. The reason is that there are rumors in the rivers and lakes that there are treasures in the Yunmen wasteland that allow warriors to cultivate spiritual roots. These warriors enter Yunmen wasteland. In the wasteland, when you come to the Yunmenling mine, you will be caught as a miner mining spiritual stones. When these warriors are mining spiritual stones, they will occasionally secretly hide 1 or 2 spiritual stones. If they are not discovered by luck, they will use the spiritual energy of heaven and earth in the spiritual stones to temper their bodies. Although this can absorb less spiritual energy, there is no 1 out of 10, but for warriors, It is the only way to condense spiritual roots. If you are lucky enough, you can indeed condense spiritual roots the day after tomorrow. Of course, the properties of the spiritual roots are not much better, but at least they can have the ability to cultivate immortals. Qualification: reaching the first level of Qi refining stage. Those who are lucky enough to reach the first level of Qi refining stage have two choices. They can either swear an oath to never spread the news about the Yunmenling mine and leave, or they can stay in the Yunmenling mine and become a manager of the Ling mine. One of the cultivators of the mine. The burly middle-aged man who dug up the spiritual crystal before was named Liang Quan. His martial arts cultivation has reached the realm of innate perfection. With this middle-grade spiritual crystal, he is half sure that he will be able to condense his spiritual roots and step into the realm of refining. Qi stage 1, so he took the risk to hide the spiritual crystal in his belly. In the Yunmenling mine, if the miner's private possession of spiritual stones and crystals are discovered, they will definitely be sentenced to death. However, for the sake of the glimmer of hope of becoming immortal cultivators, or to leave, the miners are willing to take risks. How is the yield of spirit stones in this Yunmen spirit mine? Master Huilin, generally speaking, there are no less than 300,000 low-grade spiritual stones and 30,000 medium-grade spiritual stones produced every year. From time to time, low-grade and medium-grade spiritual crystals are unearthed. So much. Lin Su was very surprised by what Mr. Long said. The Yunmenling mine only delivers more than 200,000 low-grade spiritual stones to the Sword Spirit sect every year, which is less than 1/10 of the output, and there have never been any spiritual crystals turned in. With so many spiritual stones and crystals, in addition to being divided up by the monks in the mining area, I am afraid that most of them have gone into the hands of Nai Yun. No wonder the 3 mine supervisors before Lin Su died in mysterious circumstances, probably because of the discovery. This is the reason why people will be silenced. Your name is Liang Quan, right? Give me that middle-grade spiritual crystal. It's hard to fool those guys outside like this. Don't lose your life in vain. Although Liang Quan obediently dug out the spiritual crystal from his lower abdomen, he still looked extremely reluctant to give it up. Lin Su waved his hand, and a clear spring appeared out of thin air, washing away the blood on the spiritual crystal in Liang Quan's hand. Then he reached out and sucked the spiritual crystal over and put it into the storage bag. Don't worry, I won't covet this spiritual crystal of yours. I'll keep it for you for the time being. After the matters in the mining area are settled, I can personally help you absorb the spiritual energy in the spiritual stone and condense the spiritual roots. As Lin Su spoke, he waved his hand and released the hydrotherapy technique. Liang Quan only felt a numbness and itching at the wound in his lower abdomen. Within a moment, it recovered as before, and he didn't look injured at all. Thank you, Master Immortal. Liang Quan was overjoyed and was about to kneel down and kowtow, but was stopped by Lin Su. Don't be too hasty to thank me yet. I still have something to ask for your help. I will definitely not treat you badly when I succeed. I can give it to each of you every month a low-grade spiritual stone to teach you how to absorb and utilize it. Xiantian Beijian contains a method of tempering the physical body using the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Lin Su only needs to simplify it and pass it on to these miners. Their efficiency in absorbing spiritual energy and tempering will naturally be greatly improved, and the success rate of condensing spiritual roots will naturally be improved. Will increase. Thank you so much, Master Immortal. Master Immortal has his orders, and we will obey them no matter what, even if we are broken into pieces, we will not hesitate. Mr. Long and Liang Quan immediately took the lead and knelt down, and the other miners also knelt down and kowtowed. After Lin Su bowed to them a few times, he waved his hand and sent out a strong wind to help everyone up, and asked Mr. Long, Mr. Long, you just said that monsters appear in this mine from time to time, is this true? Hui Xianxia, this is absolutely true. and I know that there are monsters in a mine not far from here. Of the few people I saw at that time, only a Quan escaped by chance. Oh. Seeing Lin Su turning his gaze towards him, Liang Quan hurriedly replied respectfully, Master Immortal, Mr. Long is right. It is deep in the mine adjacent to this mine. I walked the furthest back that day, so I went there. I escaped for a while, but the monsters didn't chase me out, so I was lucky enough to escape with my life. Quan, take me to that mine tunnel and have a look. Seeing Liang Quan's hesitation, Lin Su smiled, don't worry, as long as I'm here, nothing will happen to you. Liang Quan finally gave up his worries and led Lin Su through several forked roads to a mine tunnel. Master Immortal, the monster is in this mine. There are no forked roads inside. Look at me. Okay, just wait here, I'll go in and take a look myself. Ordinary warriors basically have no ability to resist in front of monsters, and now they are not sure what level of monsters are in the mine tunnels. It is a burden to bring Liang Quan with him. Lin Su patted Liang Quan on the shoulder and asked him to stay in the original place. Waiting on the ground, he used water invisibility technique to hide his figure and moved towards the mine. After about a few hundred meters, Lin Su felt something moving, and slowly stretched out his consciousness to explore the front. About 50 meters ahead, the mine tunnel connected to a huge underground cave, in which two monster beasts that looked like pangolins were swimming. A monster in the foundation building stage. Lin Su was shocked. The auras of these two demonic beasts were between those of the 10th level Dzogchen in the Qi refining stage and those of monks in the foundation establishment stage. They were extremely powerful. Even if they faced each other, they would probably have to run for their lives. Withdrawing his consciousness, Lin Su retreated along the original path and returned to the mind space with Liang Quan. You should work as you should these days. Don't hide the spiritual stone secretly anymore. Wait for my instructions. After explaining to Mr. Long and others, Lin Su came out of the mine. The monk guarding the entrance of the mine had been replaced. Like the two before, they were eating, drinking and chatting. Without alerting them, Lin Su walked towards the mine management office and showed his figure at the door. Stop, who are you? Lin Su's sudden appearance shocked the guards at the management office, and everyone in the room was also frightened and ran out one after another. My name is Lin Su, who is in charge here? Lin Su glanced at everyone and asked. Lin Su? Are you Lin Mine Supervisor? A short, fat monk who was gorgeously dressed and at the 6th level of the Qi refining stage pushed through the crowd and walked out. Yes, I am the new mine supervisor. Who are you? Lin Su glanced at the short and fat monk. In fact, he already knew from the mouths of Mr. Long and others that this short and fat monk was Guanzhen, the mine administrator of Yunmenling Mine, and the two people beside him were from Yunmenling Mine. Two deputy stewards. He just said this because he didn't want to make Guanzhen suspicious. Master Mine Supervisor, my name is Guanzhen, and I am the mine administrator here. These are my two deputies, Zhangping and Yu Tian. The short and fat monk made the introduction with a smile on his face, and then shouted to everyone with a serious look on his face, what are you doing standing there in a daze? You haven't seen the mine supervisor yet. I've met the mine supervisor. Lin Su waved his hand, okay, tell me about the situation in the mining area. Mr. Mine Supervisor, don't worry. You have come 1,000 miles away, and I have to pick you up first. Come here, hurry up and buy a banquet. Lin Su rolled his eyes and did not refuse. If he acted too coldly, Guanzhen and others would become suspicious. At the banquet, Guanzhen, Zhangping, and others naturally paid a lot of compliments to Lin Su, and Lin Su also suppressed the disgust in his heart and made excuses with them. The Yunmenling mine described by Guanzhen and others is completely different from what Long Lao and others said. In their words, the Yunmenling mine is a poor ore vein. Not many spiritual stones can be dug out all year round, and basically most of them are low-grade spiritual stones, and very few have medium-grade spiritual stones. Except for the normal cultivation expenses of these spiritual stones produced, all the rest were handed over to the sect. Oh! In this case, the conditions in this Yunmenling mine are indeed quite difficult. Thank you for your hard work. I would like to give you a toast, Lin, and I hope you will support me in the future. Lin Su raised his glass and drank it down in one gulp. He never mentioned the accidental death of the 3 mine supervisors in advance, nor did he propose to inspect the mining area or audit the accounts. After the banquet, he moved directly into the mine supervisor's house. Senior brother Guan, this Lin Su has really never seen much of the world. We fooled him in just a few words. It seems that senior Uncle Nai is really too nervous about him. After sending Lin Su to the mine supervisor's house, Guanzhen and the others returned to Guanzhen's residence to discuss. Zhang Ping's tone when he mentioned Lin Su was full of disdain. Don't be careless. Let's observe it for a while first. If this kid doesn't care about our affairs, we don't really need to embarrass him. Otherwise, we will follow what Uncle Nai said and make him walk away with nothing to eat. Dantian has a little field. Author, The Magic Orb Zoo. Chapter 30. In the next month, Lin Su behaved very calmly. He accepted all the gifts from Guanzhen and others, and basically never left the mine supervisor's house. Guanzhen and the others were originally very wary of Lin Su, but seeing him like this they gradually relaxed. What they didn't know was that every few days, Lin Su would sneak into the mine to see Mr. Long and others. People. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. In the past month, under the operation of Long Lao and others, the miners in the entire mining area have come under Lin Su's command, and any troubles Guanzhen and others have cannot escape Lin Su's ears. It's almost ready to take action. Over the past month, although Guanzhen and others gave Lin Su some gifts from time to time, they were nothing compared to what they stuffed into their own pockets and paid tribute to Nai Yun. Seeing Guanzhen and others, the vigilance towards Lin Su had reached rock bottom, and Lin Su decided to take action. After these days of observation, Lin Su discovered that although Guanzhen has the highest level of power in Yunmenling mine, he is a typical villain who puts personal interests first. However, his 2 deputy managers, Zhang Ping and Yu Tian, are both Nai Yun. Loyal. Lin Su decided to attack Zhang Ping and Yu Tian. As long as these 2 people were eliminated, Lin Su was 80% sure that a walleye like Guanzhen would fall to him. What? A large number of medium-grade spiritual crystals were dug out in the mine? Is it true? It's absolutely true that the miner who dug up the spiritual crystals was holding 3 middle-grade spiritual stones in his hand, which were just dug out of the mine. On this day, it happened to be Zhang Ping and Yu Tian's turn to inspect the mine, and they heard from the mine guards that a large number of medium-grade spiritual crystals had been dug out of the mine. Where is the miner who discovered the spiritual crystal? Bring him here and we will ask him personally. The miner who claimed to have discovered the spiritual crystal was brought up, and it turned out to be Liang Quan. Is this the spiritual crystal you discovered? Tell me how you found it and how much is it? As soon as he saw Liang Quan, Zhang Ping couldn't wait to ask. Sir, I found it in a mine. The villain dug out a cave while digging, and it was full of spiritual crystals. Liang Quan's expression was filled with excitement and a hint of fear, which was completely in line with the mood of a humble miner who discovered the spirit crystal veins. Lin Su, who was invisible at the side, secretly praised him, thinking that Liang Quan was really a talent, and his performance was so good. So spot on. That's right. The so-called discovery of spiritual crystal veins is completely false and was made up by Lin Su. The 3 medium-grade spiritual crystals in Liang Quan's hands were exactly the spiritual crystals excavated by miners during this period, in order to attract Zhang Ping. He Yushin takes the bait. Brother Yu, do you think you should talk to senior brother Guan about this? Zhang Ping rolled his eyes and quietly sent word to Lin Su to discuss. Should we not give it up for the time being? If this is not true, Senior Brother Guan will blame us for not doing things well and reporting blindly before we can figure it out. If it is true, how much do you think we can get if Senior Brother Guan knows about it first? Yu Tian's answer was exactly what Zhangping wanted. Then let's go and see for ourselves first. If it's true, we'll get enough copies first and then notify Senior Brother Guan. That's it. In normal times, Zhangping and Yu Tian would not dare to be so bold, but the power of spiritual crystals is not comparable to that of spiritual stones. Driven by greed, the two of them did not bring any guards with them, and just let Liang Quan pass. Going to find the spiritual crystal. Quan, just lead these two people to the entrance of the cave. When the time comes, sprinkle the things I gave you on your body. Once you become invisible, retreat quickly. After Chuanyan gave Liang Quan instructions, Lin Su stepped forward and entered the mine first. Arriving at the door of the cave where the pangolin-like monster was, Lin Su carefully stretched out his spiritual consciousness to explore inside. The two monsters happened to be sleeping soundly. Not long after, the footsteps of Zhangping and the others came from behind. Coming. Lin Su dodged into the cave, carefully pressed against the cave wall, and collected his breath. Seeing Zhangping and Yu Tian rushing into the cave anxiously, Lin Su raised his hand in the direction of the pangolin monster deep in the cave. He fired 2 ice arrows, ducked out of the cave, and fled out with all his strength. Roar! 2 angry monster roars sounded, and a terrifying aura instantly filled the entire cave. Zhangping and Yu Tian's expressions changed wildly. No, we have been tricked, run. Boom! A huge roar sounded in the mine tunnel. Zhangping and Yu Tian, who had just escaped from the cave and were running wildly, looked at the collapsed mine tunnel in front of them with pale faces. Behind them, 2 enraged monsters were already chasing after them with their claws and fangs bared. No! Help! Ah! The miserable howl suddenly stopped. At the other end of the collapsed mine tunnel, Liang Quan listened to the gradually subdued movement behind him with a pale face. He swallowed hard and looked at Lin Su with more than awe. A trace of fear from the soul. Man perishes for wealth, and birds perish for food. Lin Su sighed, seeing the difference in Liang Quan's expression. He secretly smiled in his heart. This was what he needed. Not only did he successfully get rid of Zhangping and Yu Tian, but he also let Liang Quan see his methods. With Liang Quan's paraphrasing, the miners of Yunmenling mine have stabilized their minds and will definitely not have second thoughts. Rightward arrow. What, Zhangping and Yu Tian are dead? Guan Zhen was shocked when he heard the news, and hurried to the mine. After ordering the collapsed tunnel to be dug up, the mutilated bodies of Zhangping and Yu Tian were exposed. Guan Zhen instantly turned pale and pale. Big drops of sweat kept falling from his forehead. There is a conspiracy. There must be a conspiracy. Zhangping and Yu Tian would never run to the monster for no reason. This must be a trap designed by someone. Guan Zhen has seen such scenes before, but they always set up others. Guan Zhen never thought that one day such a thing would happen to them. Now it is Zhangping and Yu Tian, and next it may be him, Guan Zhen. When he thought of this, Guan Zhen felt terrified. In the entire Yunmen spirit mine, there is only one person who has the courage and strength to set such a trap, Lin Su. When he thought of this, Guan Zhen could no longer stay. He left the mine cave like a burning butt and rushed to the mine supervisor's office. It's Guan Guan. What's the matter with you looking for me so urgently? Lin Su had already returned to the mine supervisor's office first. He deliberately left Guan Zhen for a long time before he opened the door with a breath of energy. He sat on the bamboo chair calmly, with a lukewarm attitude. Master Lin, Zhangping, and Yu Tian are dead. They were killed by monsters in the mine. Oh? Really? Alas, how could they be so careless? They should run away when they meet monsters. How could they die? Lin Su's tone was not surprised at all. He narrowed his eyes at Guan Zhen's nervous face with a hint of fear. Is it bad luck? The escape route is blocked. Lin Su's words made Guan Zhen no longer doubt that it must be Lin Su who set up the trap to kill Zhangping and Yu Tian. Guan Zhen knelt down in front of Lin Su without hesitation. Master Lin, spare my life. Manager Guan, what are you doing? I didn't say I wanted your life. Lin Su pretended to be surprised, but he didn't mean to let Guan Zhen get up. Master Lin, I am blind. Please give me a chance to correct my mistakes. I will do whatever you say. Guan Zhen knocked his head loudly. If Lin Su could kill Zhangping and Yu Tian, then he could kill him easily. No matter how Lin Su got to the Yunmen spirit mine, he was a real Qi refining stage 10th level cultivator. In addition, he was so ruthless and witty that he could kill people without bloodshed. Guan Zhen didn't think he could beat Lin Su. Do you really do whatever I say? Lin Su put away his smile and asked Guan Zhen word by word while staring into his eyes. Yes, yes, I will obey you in everything, even if it means going through fire and water. Guan Zhen nodded like a chicken pecking at rice. Lin Su laughed. I don't need you to go through fire and water, I just need you to play dumb. Guan Zhen was stunned. Play dumb? What do you mean, Lord Lin? It's very simple. If the people from the sect ask about my situation in the Yunmen spirit mine, you should let them know that I am at ease. As for how to tell them to be at ease, I don't think I need to teach you, right? This. Guan Zhen hesitated. Lin Su's meaning was very clear. He wanted him to express his position. If he agreed, it would be like completely joining Lin Su and betraying Na Yun. He couldn't afford to offend either Lin Su or Na Yun. What, you don't want to? Forget it, just pretend I didn't say anything, go ahead. But I want to remind you, there are many monsters in the Yunmen spirit mine, be careful, don't be like Zhangping and Yu Tian. The cold sweat on Guan Zhen's forehead swished down. Lin Su's meaning is very clear, if it's not his own people, then it's the enemy, and the enemy must be eliminated. Guan Zhen knows with his toes that if he doesn't agree today, Lin Su will never let him go. He really can't afford to offend Na Yun, but if he offends Na Yun, he won't die immediately, at most he can get away with it when the truth comes out in 3 years. But if he doesn't agree to Lin Su today, I'm afraid he will soon follow in the footsteps of Zhangping and Yu Tian. Nothing is more important than his own life. After weighing the pros and cons, Guan Zhen quickly made a decision. Master Lin, I am confused, please don't be angry with me. I will do as you say. From now on, if you tell me to go east, I will never go west. If you tell me to chase a dog, I will never hit a chicken. Decided? I didn't force you. You still call this not forcing me? How else do you want to force me? Guan Zhen cursed in his heart, but his face was firm. Decided, I, Guan Zhen, will follow your lead from now on. Okay. Lin Su laughed and helped Guan Zhen up. Since junior brother Guan said so, then we are one family. I, Lin Su, will never be stingy with my own people. In the future, I will still give Na Yun the spirit stones, but the number will be reduced. As for your share, I will never give less. This is a method to exercise the meridians of the flesh. It is my reward for your service. Take it.